A lot of us grew up on the scripture, spare the rod and spoil the child. So if you speak to a lot of Jamaicans, we will probably tell you that corporal punishment is just a way of life. It's a rites of passage. It is something we're accustomed to. And what doesn't kill you makes you. Now I stand here extremely lucky and extremely blessed to have been raised in a family with my grandmother and my mother. And my grandmother believed in the power of reasoning, the power of communicating, the power of understanding and working out differences. So I never experienced corporal punishment. And now that I stand as a mother of a rambunctious 7-year-old who I swear is going on 70, I implement the same things that my grandmother taught me. So I reason with her. I talk it out. Do you think that makes sense? But there are people who will tell you this doesn't work if you are a frustrated single parent. And this may not work if you come from an inner city. Well, we're here to have that conversation. Welcome to the Office of the Children's Advocates Dinner and Conversation Series.
The Office of the Children's Advocate, in association with UNICEF Jamaica, has successfully hosted its third OCA Dinner and Conversation series at the Terra Nova Hotel in Kingston.
What is this Dinner and Conversations all about? So, of course, the Office of the Children's Advocate, as most of you know, is the Commission of Parliament that is charged with the responsibility to safeguard the rights and promote the best interests of children in Jamaica in all settings. One of the things that I think is very important to do is to see how we can have facilitated discussions and get actions through very different means. How can we have stakeholders who may never ever really be in the same room at the same time gather together, fellowship over a meal, get some information based on whatever research is out there or information on a particular topic that's relevant to our children, and then give their input based on what their experiences are in their various communities and their organizations.
This year's staging of the event saw numerous stakeholders rising to the podium to share important facts on the topic and to impart valuable recommendations.
At UNICEF, we believe there is nothing more important or valuable than to protect and safeguard every child. And that means protecting every child from violence, be it sexual, emotional, psychological, or physical. We are particularly disturbed by the most common forms of violence experienced by Jamaican children, which is violent discipline. 8 out of 10 Jamaican children under age 15 are subjected to violent discipline at home. The term violent discipline includes physical aggression, like hitting or beating, as well as psychological aggression, like shouting or humiliating or calling names.
We want all our stakeholders, our teachers, our teaching associations, the clergy, the society, the private sector. We want all our partners. We want every single citizen to say enough is enough. Let us find better ways to reach out to our children. Whether we're going to give them time out, take away their privileges, whether we're going to speak to them about the consequences of their actions. And we must also always reward good behavior. Let them know that, yes, this is good. Praise them, acknowledge them. I'm proud of you, I love you, you did good. That is the correct way to do it. Let us employ these new strategies, and I promise you, it will be a new dawn in a more peaceful and loving Jamaica.
The bulk of information was presented by lead discussant for the event, Professor Joan Durant, a child clinical psychologist and professor of community health services at the University of Manitoba in Canada.
I thought we should start by figuring out just what corporal punishment is and getting a definition, because we all have different pictures in our minds of what this means. Basically, simply put, it's the administration of punishment to a child's body, and the intent is to cause pain or discomfort. What do parents really want to accomplish? What do they think they're doing when they're hitting their children? Well, one of the major goals that parents have is to teach their children right from wrong. So they want to raise children who treat other people fairly, who are kind and empathic. Usually, right, we don't want our children to be violent. We want them to be kind and good people. We want them to be able to resist temptation, and we want them to be able to make the right decision when we're not there. Out of all the 13 studies that have been conducted on this, all of them showed that children who are hit have weaker, poorer relationships with their parents. And what this means is lower levels of trust, higher levels of avoidance. Even the little slaps that nobody thinks anything of when they're toddlers, don't touch that, don't touch that, has a profound effect. Those children start backing away from their parents and they stop exploring their environment. That impairs their cognitive development, and even more importantly, it impairs the relationship, the trust, the attachment. Because of all of this, countries are increasingly recognizing that corporal punishment is a serious public health issue. It's creating real problems in our societies. The level of violence here is correlated with the level of violence in homes, and it is all over the world. When you look at the relationship between the level of corporal punishment and dating violence across countries, really strong correlation. The relationship between corporal punishment and murder, high correlation. It's just simply a training ground. And so what skills do we want them to have? The skills to coerce, control, and hurt, or the skills to solve problems, to resolve conflicts, and to reason?